You ever sit down after a long day, phone finally silent, room finally quiet, and instead of feeling peace, you feel nothing? Not sadness, not happiness, just a flat, hollow space inside you. Like your emotions are on mute, like you're present, but not really here. You look around at your life, and everything seems fine on paper. Maybe you have a job, a routine, people who care about you. You can function, you can smile, you can talk, you can keep going, but internally, there's this blankness that follows you around, and you don't even know how to explain it. And that's what makes emptiness terrifying. Because when you can't name it, your brain starts filling the silence with fear. You start thinking, is this depression? Is something wrong with me? Am I broken? Why do other people feel life and I don't? You might even start comparing yourself to people who seem excited about normal things. Movies, food, friendships, weekends. They look alive. You feel like you're just existing. And if you ever tried to tell someone, they probably didn't get it. They said, you're overthinking, be grateful. Maybe you're just bored. But you know it's not boredom. Boredom still has a feeling. This feels like the absence of feeling. If this is you, I want you to hear one thing before we begin. Feeling empty doesn't mean you are empty. It means something in you learned to shut down. It means your mind and nervous system are running a pattern that once helped you survive. And today, we're going to expose that pattern. Because emptiness isn't one simple problem. It's a symptom that can come from several psychological mechanisms. Sometimes it's burnout. Sometimes it's dissociation. Sometimes it's emotional neglect. Sometimes it's your reward system going quiet. Sometimes it's survival mode. Different causes, same experience. You feel disconnected from your own life. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 real psychological reasons people feel empty inside, and I'm not going to give you surface level advice. I'm going to explain what's happening in the mind, what's happening in the nervous system, and why your emptiness may actually make perfect sense once you understand your history. And by the end, you'll be able to identify which reason is most likely behind your emptiness and what you can start doing to come back online, slowly, safely, and without forcing yourself. Before the 5 reasons, let's define emptiness the way people actually experience it. Emptiness often feels like emotional flatness. Joy feels muted. Sadness feels distant. Love feels harder to access. You might know you should care, but you don't feel the care. You might be doing things you once enjoyed, but they don't land anymore. You might feel like you're living behind glass, watching your life rather than inhabiting it. Some people describe emptiness as being numb. Others describe it as being hollow. Others describe it as feeling like a stranger in my own life. And the reason emptiness is so painful is that it can happen even when your life looks okay. From the outside, you might seem stable. On the inside, you feel vacant. Now let's get into the psychology. The first reason you feel empty inside is emotional shutdown, also known as dissociation, freeze response, or nervous system collapse. Most people only know fight or flight, but the nervous system has another response that is just as common and often more invisible: freeze. Freeze is what happens when your system decides you can't win, you can't escape, and you can't control what's happening. So it disconnects you from the experience to reduce pain. This is not a weakness. It is a built-in survival mechanism. Emotional shutdown often happens when your brain learns that emotions are unsafe. Maybe when you felt too much as a child, you were mocked. Maybe your sadness was ignored. Maybe your anger made people punish you. Maybe your fear was treated like drama. Maybe your home was unpredictable and emotional expression made you a target. So your brain did the smartest thing it could do. It turned the emotional volume down. It said, if feeling gets me hurt, I will stop feeling. And at first that works. It protects you. It helps you function in an unsafe environment. It helps you endure what you cannot escape. But here's the tragedy. If you live in emotional shutdown for too long, the shutdown becomes your normal. You grow up and you don't realize you're dissociating. You just think you're calm, not emotional. You think you're strong. But what you're really doing is living slightly disconnected from yourself. And the emptiness you feel now is the cost of that coping strategy. Dissociation can look like zoning out, like staring at a wall, like losing track of time, like feeling not real, like going through routines without being present, like you can't cry even when you want to, like your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else. It can also look like you're always in your head, analyzing, thinking, intellectualizing, because thinking is safer than feeling. When your system is in shutdown, emotions don't flow naturally. They get trapped or muted, and that's why you feel empty. Not because you have no emotions, but because your access to them is blocked. At the end of this first reason, here's the sharp truth. If your emotions went quiet, it's often because silence once felt safer than honesty. The second reason you feel empty inside is burnout and emotional exhaustion. Burnout is one of the most misunderstood causes of emptiness because people expect burnout to look like panic or stress. But burnout can also look like numbness. Burnout happens when your system has been under long-term pressure, and it finally starts conserving energy by shutting down emotional output. Your brain is not designed to stay on forever. Your nervous system is not designed to carry constant responsibility forever. And when you push beyond your limits repeatedly, your system eventually protects itself by pulling the plug on emotional intensity. Burnout emptiness often feels like this. You do the things you have to do, but you feel no reward. You complete tasks and feel nothing. You get good news and it barely registers. Even rest doesn't feel refreshing because you're so depleted that rest feels like you're just floating in blankness. It can also feel like irritation, cynicism, detachment, and that deep sense of what's the point? Not because life truly has no point, but because your mind is so exhausted it can't generate meaning. A lot of people with burnout don't even notice it because they have a high tolerance for stress. They're the ones who always push, always perform, always show up. They've been praised for being strong, hardworking, resilient, so they keep going long after they should have stopped. And the result is emotional depletion. When you're depleted, life loses its color. Here's the sharp truth at the end of reason 2, burnout. Emptiness is your brain's way of saying, I'm out of fuel. Now pause for a second. Just pause. Take a breath. Does any of this feel familiar? Do you recognize yourself in emotional shutdown or burnout? If yes, keep watching, because the next reason goes even deeper, and it often explains why some people burn out in the first place. Now, reason 3. The third reason you feel empty inside is childhood emotional neglect, the quiet trauma nobody talks about. Emotional neglect isn't always obvious abuse. Sometimes you weren't hit, you weren't screamed at, you had food, clothes, education, but emotionally, you were alone. Your feelings were not mirrored. Your inner world wasn't understood. When you were sad, you were told to stop. When you were angry, you were punished. When you were afraid, you were dismissed. When you were excited, nobody celebrated. You learned that your emotions didn't matter, or worse, you learned that your emotions were a burden. And here's what happens to a child when emotions are consistently ignored. The child adapts by disconnecting from needs. Because if your needs are never met, eventually you stop feeling them. You stop asking, you stop wanting, you stop believing you deserve care. That adaptation can look like independence. It can look like maturity. It can look like being easy. But inside, it creates emptiness. Because identity is built through emotional reflection. A child learns who they are by having their feelings seen. You're sad, you're scared, you're excited, you matter. That mirroring teaches the nervous system. Emotions are safe and they have meaning. But if you didn't get that mirroring, emotions don't become clear. Your inner world becomes fuzzy. And as an adult, you might struggle with a painful question. Who am I really? Because you learned to be what other people needed, not what you felt. Now reason 4, the fourth reason you feel empty inside is anhedonia, when nothing feels enjoyable anymore. This is the reward system problem. You can do things you used to enjoy and it doesn't feel like anything. You can go out and it feels flat. You can eat and it feels bland. You can achieve goals and it feels empty. You might even say, I don't feel sad, I just don't feel anything. That's often anhedonia. Anhedonia can happen with depression, but it can also happen after chronic stress, trauma, or prolonged emotional shutdown. When the brain is under stress for too long, it starts reducing reward responses. It's like your system is conserving energy by making everything feel less intense. Pleasure becomes harder to access. Motivation drops. The world feels muted. And this is where people start panicking because they assume their life is the problem. They think, maybe I need a new relationship. Maybe I need more money. Maybe I need a new city. Maybe I need to start over. But if the reward circuitry is muted, even a new life can feel empty. Because the issue isn't the environment. It's the internal reward system that interprets life. This is why some people chase constant stimulation. They scroll for hours. They binge content. They chase novelty. They chase drama. They chase intensity because their brain is trying to feel something, anything. But stimulation is not the same as fulfillment. Stimulation can temporarily wake the system, but it doesn't fix the underlying quietness. Sometimes it makes it worse, because your brain adapts to constant dopamine spikes, and then ordinary life feels even flatter. At the end of reason 4, here's the sharp truth. If nothing feels good, it may not be your life. It may be your reward system going offline. Now reason 5, the deepest one. The 5th reason you feel empty inside is that you don't feel safe enough to feel. People underestimate how much emotions require safety. Feeling deeply means you are open. Feeling deeply means you are present. Feeling deeply means you are vulnerable. And if your nervous system doesn't trust the world, it will not let you feel fully. Because full feeling means full exposure. For some people, calm feels unsafe. Silence feels unsafe. Rest feels unsafe. Because in the past, calm was followed by chaos. Silence was followed by criticism. Rest was followed by punishment. Happiness was followed by loss. So your system learned to stay guarded. It stayed vigilant. It kept scanning for threat. Even now when life is safe, the nervous system might not believe it. It stays in survival mode. Survival mode doesn't prioritize joy. It prioritizes control. It prioritizes avoidance. It prioritizes being ready. That means even good moments can feel emotionally distant. You can be at dinner with people and still feel empty because your system is scanning. You can be on vacation and still feel empty because your body is tense. You can be loved and still feel empty because trust is hard. Your system isn't letting you fully enter the moment. This is also why emptiness can exist alongside anxiety. Some people feel empty and anxious at the same time, empty emotionally, but restless physically. Their body is activated while their emotions are shut down. That's a nervous system caught between fight, flight, and freeze. It's like a car with the gas and brake pressed together, and it feels awful. At the end of reason 5, here's the sharp truth. Emptiness can be protection when your body doesn't trust safety. So now you know the 5 reasons. And you might be thinking, okay, what do I do? Let's make this practical, but in a way that doesn't invalidate you. The first step is naming what kind of emptiness you have. Emptiness is not one thing. Ask yourself, when does it get worse? Does it get worse after stress? That points to burnout. Does it get worse when you're alone and quiet? That can be emotional shutdown or neglected self. Does it get worse in relationships? That can be safety, attachment. Has it been there since childhood? That often points to emotional neglect. Naming the pattern reduces fear. It turns emptiness from a curse into information. The second step is gentle reconnection with the body. If emptiness is disconnection, then healing is reconnection. But you don't reconnect by forcing emotions. You reconnect by returning to sensation, slowly. Your nervous system needs proof that presence is safe. That might mean a slow breath while noticing your shoulders. It might mean feeling your feet on the floor. It might mean a short walk where you actually notice the air on your skin. It might mean holding a warm cup and paying attention to the heat. Tiny moments, tiny returns. Because if your system has been shut down for years, big emotional floods can feel threatening. You build capacity gradually. The third step is rebuilding reward and meaning in small doses. People think emptiness means they need a massive purpose, but purpose doesn't arrive when you're numb. Purpose grows when you reconnect to small things, one small hobby, one creative act, one honest conversation, one thing you do because it's you, not because it's productive. Your brain learns reward again through repetition, not through sudden transformation. And now here's the hope, because I want you to end this video feeling something different than you started. The same nervous system that learned to shut down, can learn to open again. The same brain that learned numbness as protection can learn safety as a new baseline. But it won't happen through pressure. It happens through practice, through small moments of reconnection, through choosing safety again and again until your body believes you. So if you feel empty inside, remember this. Feeling empty doesn't mean you're a lost cause. It means you adapted. It means your system did what it had to do. It means you survived something. Maybe burnout, maybe neglect, maybe chronic stress, maybe emotional chaos. And now your system is asking for something new. If this video helped you, comment which reason you relate to most. Just write 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And subscribe to Unfelt if you want more videos like this. Videos that go beneath the surface and tell you the truth. You are not broken. You are a human being whose nervous system learned the wrong definition of safety, and that definition can be rewritten. I'll see you in the next video.